Morning, folks. It's 7:30 in the morning UK time on Wednesday, the 12th of February 2025. I'm back off to the studio today to record the latest audio for one of the episodes of my documentary, Work in Progress, news soon. It's full moon. It's full moon at, I think, 7 minutes to 1. 6 minutes to 1 today. 6 minutes to 2, PM UK time today. Full moon in Leo. Now, this full moon is a very strong one. Yes, the sun is opposite the moon, but the sun is also conjunct strongly the asteroid Ceres, or really the dwarf planet Ceres, and the planet Mercury. So you have Sun, Ceres, Mercury, all opposite the moon. That on its own is significant but not mega. What is big is that the Sun, Moon, Ceres and Mercury are all strongly squared to Uranus in Taurus. So let's look at this. This chart and the chart of these times, especially with the Uranian complement, has an unnerving similarity to the horoscopes of 1933 and 1932, 1934, the rise of fascism. I'm not particularly relating this to any specific country, but it does seem that in the Americas, both North and South, certainly in Southern and Eastern Europe, and Russia, the rise of the right, the extreme right, and in my country of England too, is apace. Uranus doesn't take prisoners. Uranus deals with black and white, yes and no. Same as Pluto, but in a different way. Pluto deals with yes and no, black and white, in terms of self-development, psychological actions, and the way people behave to you and you behave to people. Uranus deals with events and timings. There are a number of earthquake fracture zones kicking off around the world at the moment. There is unusual weather patterns, but there is also the rise of the right. And this is something which is cyclical. When you're as old as I am, yeah, all right. When you trace this back over history, you can see that cycles develop of left and right, left and right. And the idea would be that gradually over a period of hundreds of years, that these cycles would stop going to the extremes and instead head towards the centre ground. Whereas actually at the moment, the reverse is happening. There is an extreme lunge to the right wing. And nowhere is this more evident than in the kickback against all the environmental minor reforms that have happened in recent years. The diversity kickback, the kickback against paper straws, which actually weren't paper, they were polyurethanes. But the short-term and short-sighted kickback to cost expediency will prove to be pretty disastrous for us all in the medium to long term. And of course, many people go, I don't care about the medium to long term. All I care about is making money and having the adoration of the people who vote for me. These people are not thinking of the way that history will judge them. Perhaps they don't care. It's their prerogative. But legacy is, as one ages, the idea of leaving legacy is important. Now, it's not just around the political, ecological, and economic factors here. There's also the religious. I can't speak for what's happening in other countries, but in my country, I note with fascination yesterday how that voice of probity, liberty, and forward-looking Liberation, the Church of England voted yesterday not to allow independent oversight of its activities in terms of investigating itself, in terms of child abuse, historic and contemporary, as well as the abuse of women, the gay phenomena that's going on within the church, to the denial of all the right-minded people who say, no, we don't need independent oversight, we can do this on our own. Nobody trusts the churches anymore. Only the devout and the fanatical. The devout, I have compassion and empathy for. The fanatical, the ones who are driving the right-wing agenda, I just think, come on, folks, really? You're not very intelligent, are you? You're just narrow-minded on that one thing that God saves, Jesus saves, Buddha, Allah saves. Everything else is infidel. This full moon is a classic example of the lurch to extremism. I do expect some quite significant breakdowns and or breakthroughs, but this is only the next step on what else is coming. When you look at the chart for today, yes, obviously you're caught up in the full moon. But in the background, on this chart, lurking in the background, you can see that Neptune and the North Node are together at the end of Pisces, that Saturn is closing up on them, that Venus is getting much lower in the sky now, and it's getting ready to go retrograde and jump back into Pisces. Mercury is about to move into Pisces. We're getting ready for the big 5, 6, 7 day conjunction of 5 planets at the end of Pisces, at the end of March, start of April. This is lurking in the background. This is going to be a bit of a game changer, especially as there's a partial eclipse of the sun during this time. But that is still 1.5 moon cycles away. 42 days, I guess. Something like that. It's full moon. Today is a day where there's going to be lots of rhetoric, lots of words about how we're doing what's good for the people, how we're doing what's good for the planet, and how we're, of course, not looking at ourselves because we're just servants to humanity. It doesn't matter whether you're religious or political. Look at yourselves. Look how history will judge you. Look at what legacy you're leaving behind for your grandchildren. By the time your grandchildren are the age you are, money as we know it won't exist. It's not all about profit and greed. And it's certainly not about fundamentalism. One planet, one species. I'm going to end with a familiar rant. Well, actually, I'm not going to end, but I'm going to give you a familiar rant of mine. Close the churches, the mosques, the synagogues. Turn them into community centres. Don't banish God. That's silly. Everyone has a right to their own relationship with the divine and spirituality. But we don't need priests to tell us what to believe anymore. Those days are gone. Rant over. More in the next day or two. Catch you later, world. Bye.